layout associated with these lifecycle methods. The onCreate method is the only one of the activity lifecycle methods that's mandatory. Just as we did in our first app, you'll call the setContentView method to initialize the display layout. You'll also initialize variables and possibly start a background thread. In the onResume method, typical actions are to restore variables and restart animations. This should be a lightweight method, that is, not executing a lot of code. This is because the onResume method could be executed frequently depending on how often the user navigates away from and back to the application. When the user navigates away from the app, the onPause method is invoked. In this method, typical actions are to commit changes, save variables and preferences, and stop animations. And the onPause method should also be lightweight code. In the onDestroy method, typical actions are to close databases, release resources, and stop background threads. In the onStart method, typical actions are to register broadcast receivers and reinitialize states. In onRestart, server connections are opened and resources allocated. And in the onStop method, server connections are closed, resources freed, and broadcast receivers unregistered. In the developer's website, there's a section on implementing lifecycle callbacks, and that link is here. We pull up that page. We've already used the onCreate method in our first app, and using the other methods is done in a similar fashion, as you can see here. Notice, however, that the save instance state bundle is only passed as a parameter in the onCreate method. Another way to refer to these methods is callbacks. That is, your code is registered to be called back when the activity lifecycle method is executed. To help in restoring your activity after users navigate away and then back again, Android provides the onSaveInstantState method and onRestoreInstantState method. You can save your activity state in the onSaveInstantState method and restore your state in the onCreate or the onRestoreInstantState method. And you can read more about how to do this by following the link here to the developer's website. Now let's review the approach we took in understanding the Activities API. We looked at the major aspects with a reference to the Activities component description on the developer's website. And we looked at key and required capabilities, and we researched details as needed using the Activity class documentation. This is a pattern we'll repeat as we explore more Android capabilities. But we don't have the time in this course to examine every detail of every Android component, class, and method. In fact, this would be difficult to impossible to do in a course of any length. One purpose in this course is to show you how you can use the Android documentation to figure out what you need to know to address whatever challenges you face in your app development projects. So that's a look at Android activities, and they're the backbone of Android apps. We'll be looking at the other app components in coming lessons.